Let's record. Hey everyone. Hey Melanie, special guest today. Thank you for attending to this session or watching the replay if that's what you're doing. This is a very, very brief informal session on some updates on the Extempore platform for the 2022-2023 school year. This is part of Extempore's 2022 PD Extravaganza. Presented by myself, Grant Kastner. I am Extempore's community manager, and my colleague, Sam.
Hello, everybody.
Sam Slagle is our Extempore product owner on this fine day in July. So a couple of highlights of what we're going to be doing today, and then we will get right into it. Jump to the next slide. There we go. Basic session objectives are PD Extravaganza 2022. We have a full slate of professional development, workshops, presentations on Extempore, unique sessions. We have another one going on right now with the seal of biliteracy. And what we do with the Department of Education here in Minnesota. Whole bunch of stuff going on with our PD Extravaganza. I hope you can watch some of the other sessions. I myself am a Chinese language teacher. I also work for Extempore doing a lot of our marketing stuff. I manage our community, help teachers better understand the platform, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. Here are a few things that we're going to be looking at in this brief presentation. Time extensions, what that means on Extempore, looking at assessment statuses and status filters, hiding prompts within a response, once the time to review ends. Asynchronous rooms in real time is a quick fix, but one that's pretty powerful to use. Organization commons, Sam is going to show how that works. And then the final one is multiple response types per assessment. Let's get into it, shall we? So I'm going to drag over another window here and showcase our first item, which was the timing extensions. I'm going to bring this over. Here we go. Go to my class of Extempore, and we can see how this works. Okay, so one of the big improvements that we got earlier this year was this thing on time extensions, and I was so happy that Sam was able to work with his team and put this together for our platform. Here's the way it works. When you're on your class page, you see here I have managed class. I have my assessments. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see my students within that class. I have their username, their first name, last name, and their emails and all that fun stuff. And then here we have this extra time feature here. What does that mean? So a lot of the time we have assessments where students have IEPs or 504s and they need extra time on an assessment. So when you click this little I, you can add that information. Oh no, not the I, I'm sorry. When you click the little cog, the eye is going to see what their side. When you click the little cog here, we have some information that's valuable. So the time limit extension, this allows us to add extra time for that student for a given assessment. So I can click on this time limit extension, and what will happen is you'll see that we can give that student 1.5 extra time, 2x extra time, or we can customize that and give them 3x extra time, 4x extra time, however much extra time that they need. Because a lot of the IEPs and 504s that you might work with say, okay, this student needs time and a half, this student needs double the amount of time. So I can click this 2x here, and then once I click save, I don't know why I need to confirm his password. Sam, I shouldn't have to do that, right? Let's see, let's try this again. I don't want to change the password. I click save.
Should be able to just clear the password. It shouldn't be asked.
Let's see. Yeah, let's try that again. There we go. There we go. Once I clear the password out of there, I now save it and I come back to this page and we can see that Alex, this student here, now has 2x extra time for that assessment. So for example, if an assessment has a time limit of 30 seconds to review and 30 seconds to respond, Alex will now get 60 seconds to review and 60 seconds to respond to that assessment. So that's one of our new features, the extra time. It's super helpful. Any questions on that before I move on? All right. The next thing that I'd like to show, just scrolling up, is the assessment statuses and the status filters. This is really handy, particularly when it comes to finding the assessment that you're looking for, right? So here we can see there are 4 different titles up here. We have active assessments, scheduled assessments, past due assessments, and draft assessments. If what we see here, past due means that assessment has already passed. So you can't access that assessment anymore. Active means that that assessment is active. Scheduled means that it's going to occur in the future. It's a scheduled assessment. And then draft is a draft status where you have copied that assessment over from one class to another, and you have yet to set a time for it. Now, the neat thing about this feature is that what you can do with these filters is uncheck them, and then those assessments won't display. So if I only wanted to see active assessments, I can see all of my active assessments here. If I only wanted to show the past due assessments, I can uncheck the active assessments that I have, and then it will only display past due assessments. So this is a really handy way of finding the assessments that you need, particularly if you only have like 2 or 3 assessments that are active at a time. It gives you a nice, easy way to find the ones that you are looking for. Sam, anything to add on that before I continue? Any questions from anybody? We are here.
Looks good so far.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. All right. So moving on then is hiding prompts and when and why we would do this. I'm going to click in, edit my assessment. So from the edit assessment page, when you are creating an assessment within Extempore, you have your whole framework right here. The name, the timeline, what type of assessment in it, how will students respond to this text? So they'll use a text response for this one, give an assessment description. And then when you come down to the limitations, this is where this new feature comes into play. Limitations, you see limit time to review, how much time? A minute and 15 seconds. Then you have this extra option below. When the review timer ends, the question prompt should be hidden or visible. What this means is, and I'll show an example of what this looks like. What this means is that when the student goes to answer that question and the timer finishes, that prompt will disappear. Whether it's a video, audio, image, text, what have you, that prompt will not be on that page anymore. So I specifically made this one assessment. I'm going to now find my other window, which I have over here. And I'm going to find this assessment, and you will see, make sure I refresh first, exactly what this looks like. So I see here, this is my question. Time to review has 75 seconds on it. I only get a single attempt. I click OK. And then from here, once I join the assessment, I can see the video. I can see the navigation warnings. I can see all the extra information within that assessment. I'll play the video. Once I play the video and this plays through, this time to review will start counting down. And so the other neat thing about one of the other features we have is that since the time to review is a minute and 15 seconds, this student can play this video or audio file or whatever media that they're viewing as many times as they need to within that time to review. So you see the time to review starts counting down here. I'll click play again. They can watch the video again, they can listen to the audio again, however many times they need to within that time to review period. But as soon as I start typing, oh no, you can see that's gone. The prompt is gone. The time to review is now hit 0. I can't see the image. I can't see the prompt or anything else like that. I have to just type my response. Now, question, when and why would you use a prompt like this? Why would you want the image to disappear? I think it's really just to add an extra challenge. And it also mocks something that is seen on the Apple and Stamp assessments, which are 2 common assessments that students can take with their languages. And it just, and one thing to keep in mind when you're doing something like this, one, tell your students that the prompt is going to disappear. Imagine it would be pretty scary for a student to go do an assessment and all of a sudden they can't see the prompt anymore. But it's a really good way to challenge them and say, hey, what did you recall from this prompt? What are you taking away? And how can you respond? How can you respond to it appropriately in the target language? So I'm going to submit my response. And so far we've gone through the time extensions, which show what that looks like. We've seen the assessment statuses and filters. We've hid assessment prompts within an assessment on Extempore. We've talked about when you would use that, why you would use that. And now I'm going to hop over to another feature that we have showing asynchronous rooms in real time. And so what this means now is that Sam is going to be here with me. He, I believe, is muted on Zoom. Yeah, he's muted on Zoom, so you won't hear him, but he'll be talking on his end. What this means is that this PD Extravaganza room that we see right here, Sam and I can now participate in real time, and the student does not have to refresh the page anymore. So I'm going to respond to this prompt, PD Extravaganza. I'm going to click participate in room. I can respond. Ooh, setting up the recorder. Go. All right. What do you think of the PD Extravaganza so far? I have a nice image of Dr. Fernandez, who worked with us earlier. Click record, and I can submit my response. Wow, the PD Extravaganza has been fantastic so far. I'm really enjoying it. Click stop recording. And as soon as I hit submit, you can't see Sam's side, but I'm going to click submit. This is going to go in, and then it processes, and it'll show up. And then while I'm talking and explaining how this room works, Sam is gonna listen, and he's gonna respond, and his response is gonna show up right here in this room. And so what makes this a really handy feature is that students now, they don't have to refresh this page anymore. They can just talk to one another, and the responses will just come in as they come in, right? I don't have to refresh the page. I'm here. I have my response. Sam clicks submit. Sam, did you click submit? Hopefully we're in the right room. Can you imagine Tony Stark?
That's funny. Tony Stark.
My submission did go through.
Huh.
Let me try one more just to see. It says
Okay.
new introduction, but yeah, that should, yours displayed perfectly on my end. So let's try one more.
I wonder, maybe it's a cache then. I don't know. Let's see, I refresh. And
Your internet is moving very slowly. Right
it's
now.
probably okay. It's probably my internet, but you see in here, Sam's response shows up. I can then respond again, and we can have a easy conversation about the PD extravaganza or any other topic that you want to do in the target language. So you see Sam's response here, and as long as you don't have a million things on your computer going on at once, as I do with all of these presentations, students will be able to talk, send messages back and forth, and have a really good interpersonal conversation between each other. So far. Time extensions, assessment statuses and filters, hiding the prompt in asynchronous rooms in real time. I'm going to toss it over to Sam real quick before to talk about organizational commons, and then I will do the last one, which is our multiple response types per assessment. Sam?
Right. Thank you, Grant. And then the one thing too I wanted to mention for the asynchronous room. So this has been a feature for well over a year now, but the issue in the past is that students were forced to refresh the page in order to see those attempts, which just really made it unusable. So with this new update, they never need to leave that page. Excuse me. So onto the organization commons. So we released our general extempore commons earlier this year, which is just a library of common assessments that we continue to load in and can be imported to any of your classes. So what the organization commons does is it provides this drop down here for my commons. We'll open that up in a new tab. And what gets placed here is content that has been provided by either the organization or the district or school administrator. And the administrator also has the ability to let us know if they would like teachers to be able to contribute to the organization commons as well, so that there is a shared space to allow those teachers within the organization to import within their account. So if for me, I am an administrator. Otherwise, if a teacher did have the ability to add to the organization commons, they would just come right here to upload to my org. And then that's where they would find this form where they just provide some base information on that assessment. And all the information that is being provided is going to allow all the teachers within the organization to sort and filter by all the information here. So one of the other features by the school year will be the ability for administrators to lock down certain features within an assessment with the intention of then sharing it to the organization commons, so that they might lock down a rubric, they might lock down the questions or the timers, so that as the teachers import those are true common assessments, then everyone is utilizing the same exact one. And those will also be shared through the organization commons. Any questions at all on organization commons? Otherwise, I will pass it back to Grant.
I had a question about using the filters on that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong or if it's something there. Anytime I try to do filters, it's very complicated for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So.
And are you using our general commons when you're looking for those filters?
Yes.
Okay, let me just open that one up just to show you how that works. And because I know there is quite a bit of data in there, but if you know just kind of 2 to 3 that you're really looking for, which I would say language, let's focus on that for the first one. So all you're doing is filtering. First, we just want to see a certain language. So we'll select that. And now we can select whichever language we're looking for to import. So maybe we want some English assessments. And then the next one, maybe you want to look for a certain level, or maybe you want to search for a certain mode of communication. Okay. So we can select mode. And now whichever mode we would like to look for here. So maybe we want some interpersonal writing. So that's how the filters would work. Is that what you were seeing as well, Melanie, or were you getting stuck?
No, mine doesn't exactly look like that all the time. It's just like it doesn't have the is in there, and it makes you like have to put things in there that should already be in there ideally. It's just kind of weird. I don't know how or why it's doing what it's doing. So
okay. But if you're still having issues, maybe if you could pull it up, and you and I have been exchanging emails today. So if you want to take a screenshot and just send it to me, okay. I believe it should look identical to what I'm seeing here, but we can take a look at that. And we are using a service called Airtable to store all of this information. So we are kind of confined to how their filters function, because this is not something we control the functionality for. It's really just kind of our storage database for the commons.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just send you a screenshot of it if I come
okay.
to the end.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Did you have any other questions on commons? Otherwise, we can take that one offline here.
No, I did notice there were a lot of new things put in today when I went back in there to look at some things. So that was nice to know they had some new ones.
Yes. Yes. I think most of that is probably Grant's doing as well as some of the other.
It's me and our ambassadors, Dora and Kelly, have been hard at work to upload us.
I think it was the lady that was in the last presentation.
Yeah.
Her name was on a lot of them, but I think it was in French. So
yeah, Dora's been adding quite a bit. She's wonderful.
She did a lot.
Yeah,
so that was exciting.
Really
getting ready for the school year.
Yes. Awesome. All right, Sam, I can take over and show. So I realized that for some reason in our little slide thing, I forgot to highlight one of the biggest updates that we have, which is our gradebook. But first, I want to get to the multiple response types per question. So from the question page, one of the things that we get a lot from teachers is, well, when you create an assessment, you go to that create assessment. From the edit assessment page, if I can jump back to this real quick, what you'll see is that each assessment you say students will respond with what, right? That determines what method are they going to use to respond to the assessment. Are they going to use video responses? Are they going to use audio responses? Or are they going to use a text response? And obviously a lot of teachers will say, okay, well, why can't I have multiple different response types per question? Well, guess what? Now you can. This is what's exciting about this. So now instead of your assessment being all text, all video, or all audio, you can now combine these different types of response types and make all sorts of comprehensive assessments that can assess speaking, writing, listening, whatever mode of communication you're looking to assess, you can do that. Here's how you do that. When you go to the question page, you go to create a question. Every question will start with the default. So say if my default response type is text, and I go to the advanced settings here, that response type is going to be text. But now what you can do instead is for each question that you create, you can click on video, audio, or multiple choice and choose how you want that response to be formatted within your assessment. So now you can create video responses, audio responses, text responses, all in multiple choice, 4 different questions with 4 different response types, and keep that within one assessment. So that's a really, really valuable feature that you can now use on Extempore. And instead of having to create multiple assessments, one text, one audio, one video, combine them all and create one comprehensive assessment, particularly like an IPA. Sam, anything to add on multiple response types before I move to Gradebook?
No.
Okay,
Everything's
awesome.
there.
Thank you, Sam. So the last thing, first, which is deserving of a big round of applause and thank you, and all of the fire emojis that you can send Sam possible, is our lovely brand new gradebook that I'm going to do a little demo through right here within this session. So this gradebook has been underway for a while, and thank you again to Sam and his team working on this and putting it together. This is going to, if I may, revolutionize how you grade things on Extempore. So here we have it, the beautiful gradebook. What can you do within this gradebook? Let's just go through the navigation first, and then we'll walk through how it actually works. So here you can see gradebook. I can see the class that I have selected, demo class. I can choose whether I want to see only individual or only group assessments. I can choose the time frame for that assessment, last 7 days, last 30 days, however much you want to see to just narrow down the assessments that are displaying. Here you can see I have an assessment scored already. This was out of 6 points. I can choose to either display the points, or I can choose to display the percentage for that assessment based on the score. And the other thing that I could do if I wanted, I could even narrow it down further. I could narrow it down by assessments, or I can narrow it down by the students and only display certain students or only display certain assessments based on what I put into the search bar. If I click on the little settings bar here, I can export the student's grades to a CSV and get that downloaded. And then finally, you can see the key. When I click show key, we can see what all of these fancy colors mean within the gradebook. Red means that that student has a locked response within their assessments. So you'll see here, a buy on his Extempore 101 has a locked response. Yellow means ungraded, right? That response has been ungraded and needs to be grading. Gray means unattempted. We have a few unattempted responses. Green means it's already graded. The little speech bubble you can see means I've given feedback and how much feedback I've given. And then the little I will indicate that those grades have already been published, versus the I with the slash through it indicates that that grade has not been published just yet. So now we have the interface here. We see how it works. Say, okay, I have all this information. I understand what this information means. How do I go about grading it? Well, to start grading, you're going to open up the Snap Grader. And the way you do it is simply by opening up a student's response. So I'll open Michael's response. I click here, and we can see that this little Snap Grader pops out. And from the top, just to break it down, we have each student. I can scroll through each student, and you'll see that as I scroll through, what's highlighted within the page is also the student that I am seeing in the Snap Grader. I'll come back to Michael. And then within the Snap Grader as well, I can click through the various assessments that I'm looking at. So here you can see Extempore 101 Spanish is highlighted. I click through, I can see Gradebook sample and navigate all the way back to Michael Ramirez's Extempore 101 Spanish assessment. Now we see the questions laid out for us. Before I click into the questions, I can see all of the question names. I can see their status. This one's graded. This one's ungraded, excuse me. This one's graded. See how many are graded, how many are ungraded. Well, now I say, okay, I want to review question 1 for Michael. I can see the text here. I can see Michael's response. I can play back his response. And then I can provide comments, feedback, or save some time and mark it complete. You'll see up here, though, the interface changes just a tad. Again, I can click through students. I can click through assessments. Well, now I can also click through questions as well. You can see which ones I've already graded. And I'll come back here. And like I said, to save myself some time, I can click Mark Complete, complete the next question, and I move to the next question. Go to 4, complete the next question, complete the next student. I can see the prompts. I can see Michael's response. And if I wanted as well, I could type in some feedback, leave him audio feedback, leave him video feedback, and Michael would see that within his student portal. So feedback, say, nice job. Looking forward to learning with you this year. And then within your preferences as well on your account, you can determine if I click send and that feedback goes to Michael, that he can get a notification or an email saying, hey, your teacher left you feedback. Go to your Extempore student portal and check it out. So that, I believe, Sam, I feel like that was quicker than I expected, but I feel like that's just about grading in a nutshell, right? You have the interface, all of these ways that you can activate, look at your student responses. But then here you click on the Snap Grader and you can see the grade. You can see the question again. You can see their response. If I wanted to, I could clear his answer. I could just mark it complete from here. Last thing that I wanted to highlight, I did not want to forget. Here as well, also, I click here. You see I have a locked response. If I wanted to unlock the response, I go to it and I unlock it, and that response would then be unlocked from there. And so with the gradebook in this way, you can really just be a lot more efficient while observing your students' grades. Right here, I can already see okay, I have some things graded, but I have a bunch of things already not graded. In our legacy grading, you wouldn't see that. You would have to find things on your own. And it would just take longer. So this is going to really save you a lot of time on your grading. Oh, and the one thing that I wanted to add that's really handy is that when it comes to grading multiple responses, see here, I have a 5-second response. The next question has a 5-second response as well. But if the response is longer, use this, Sam, what do you call this thing? Speeder upper? I don't know. Multiplier, audio multiplier, to play the response a little bit faster. And it might, and what we have within Extempore is that it won't change, it won't distort the voice at all.
Sí, es algo que yo tengo que saber de ti.
I have a response, and then I can I can save time, and then the next, when I click save and next question, it stays at that 1.5, and I can really save time listening to student responses while also understanding exactly what they are saying. So the gradebook has been totally changed, and even within here, I can click in, I can find, if I wanted to just jump to Alicia's sample summative assessment, I click on this box, and the snap grader changes directly to that, click within the question, and I can start grading again. So a huge time saver. The last thing to add is the rubrics. I have the rubric here, choose many points, 2 points here, 3 points there. And if I click save, it'll save the next question. I can provide the score, provide the comments, and then that student would see the response and it would populate right here. So all new gradebook, save time, use the snap grader. It takes some getting used to, of course, but I think it's a massive improvement from what we've had before. And it should really enhance just the grading situation overall. Sam, anything to add? I feel like I'm missing something, but at the same time, I hope the short amount of time that I could go over it really emphasizes how simple it is.
Yeah, I was trying really hard to find something. So the only thing is you showed really nicely how you can toggle through the students, but when you were showing that, you're showing the list. So click on Alicia's on Extempore 101 again, and then open up question 1. So while you were toggling through it this way, I'd say the nice value there is we know some teachers like to grade question by question, some like to grade student by student. So when you're looking at question 1 here, teachers can now actually toggle through students, grade question 1 for all students, and then move on to question 2. So that was the one piece I saw missing. Otherwise, clicking on the student's name on the far left, that does display a nice view, just shows what their most recent activity was, whether it was submission or something you graded. And this is also a nice quick way to view the student's account. Similar to what you can do from the class today.
This is why Sam is the product owner. I didn't even know you could do this. That's really neat. Yeah, because then if you have a bunch of assessments, you don't have to scroll through. You don't have to scroll through the whole thing and find, okay, you're missing this, you're missing this, you're missing this. It just says it all right here.
And you can click on those. That should bring you right to the response.
There you go. Sample assessment takes me right there. Thank you, product owner. Fantastic, Sam. A nifty gradebook just for you to use. And I guess, Sam, I should also add that if you're watching this, it's important to note that we haven't set a certain time, but the legacy grading will be phased out. I don't want to set a date, but relatively soon. Sam, anything on that?
No, we'll make sure we're pushing everyone towards this, and we just want to make sure we have time to test, and we'll probably let both of them be live with the first month of the school year, just in case a teacher finds a bug that we didn't find, and make sure that is a really smooth transition.
For sure, yeah. Awesome.
I'll have access to this one as well as the one it is in there now.
Yeah, no, it's all on the top toolbar up here. If you click on Gradebook, it all shows up.
Yeah, because I've been grading the test, my guinea pig student, and it doesn't look like this. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's because you're using the legacy grading that we have. So if you switch over to Gradebook, you should be able to do that.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Any questions?
If you don't see it looking like that, just reach out, because sometimes we do need to enable it. We haven't enabled it for all accounts yet. So just let us know if you don't see that, and we can make sure we turn that on.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, thank you.
With that, any questions that you guys have before we wrap up? Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you, Alejandro. Thanks, Melanie, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. We'll see you guys around. Take care now. Thanks, Alejandro.
Thanks, Alejandro.